what I have done, and now I have to do it again, is to go to the Orchard site under source and download the full Orchard under downloads. Under source, by the way, you could download the absolute latest source. So if the developers do something under source code, you can download the absolutely latest source. Under downloads, you can always download the latest released source. So I will now do that, and it will be a bit faster than before. So let's anticipate it. And again, what we will do now is the following. We haven't talked about how to create menus in Orchard. We will do that today. We haven't talked about media management. So of course it's nice to have websites with textual content, but naturally you will have pictures, videos, whatever. We will talk about media management. We will just briefly, because it's quite simple to use, we will just briefly talk about search. So Orchard has a built-in search engine. More precisely, it has indexing services and a search service built in. That means that you can let Orchard index your content. It uses Lucene, by the way. So if you have heard it, it's a general indexing service, indexing engine, Lucene, and Orchard uses it. So again, I will now extract the whole Orchard source here. But of course, you have done this way before. Getting your Orchard site searchable is very simple. We will take a look at that as well. And also, the last part of today's lesson will be about taxonomies. Taxonomies is a module that was recently integrated into Orchard core, and it's used to categorize content items. So this is also a very basic content management task to be able to categorize your contents. Orchard naturally gives a tool for that, and this is taxonomies. I will now open the solution again, and under source we see orchard.sln again, and now I make a copy to keep this solution separated from every other Orchard solution I have here. Since I work with Orchard, of course it's good not to have a dozen Orchard.slns in the quick launch bars, but rather, for example, Dojo Course.sln. So yeah, the solution is preparing a bit faster now, but it's still quite huge. And now it's loaded, it's great. So what we see here, you can see there are many projects in the modules folder. These will be, or these are the built-in modules of Orchard, like the content management itself. Because the content management front end, you can see, is also a module itself. But we won't look them through now. But rather we will collapse every project. So in VS 2012 we have the collapse all feature. So that was specially developed for Orchard developers, I think, because no other real solution has 73 projects in it. Okay, now that we are done, we will start Orchard. Just hit Ctrl F5 and our site will start. Now why is that? Because here we have also an orchard.web project. This is the web project. So this is really the website, the web application behind Orchard. We will look through the solution later, but for now, just know that what we are starting really is the orchard.web project. So it's compiling. It also takes some time. Even Visual Studio says that it takes more time than expected. Apparently, despite the collapse of feature, Visual Studio is not fully aware of how big an Orchard solution is. But let's start it. And after a while, you should be able to see two things. first of all, that Orchard will start to open in a browser. So last time we have run Orchard through WebMatrix. Now this is a bit different, but what's the same, that running from Visual Studio and running from WebMatrix, now with Visual Studio 2012, both use the same IIS Express server. So this little icon what we have here is our IIS Express server. So it's a real little web server. This automatically created site is the website we are looking at now. Okay, so we are again at the Orchard setup screen. So this is Dojo Course, it's not a test anymore. Username should be admin, password. As you can see, I have this pre-field. So as you can guess, I use admin password when developing every time. But it's easy and it doesn't really matter locally, of course. But don't use it on a live site. Yeah, we will again use SQL Server Compact, because why use a full database just for testing it? We will again run the default Orchard recipe. So let's finish setup. And from now on, we won't do the setup again. So next time we will start from the state where we leave off today. Orchard is cooking its recipe. Yeah, but, by the way, the front end, so the user interface in Orchard is quite well, let's say, simplified. So it's not meant to be beautiful but useful, and probably the only UI element where it's a bit of an effect is this cooking Orchard recipe overlay. Alright, so again we are on our Orchard website, and let's go to the dashboard because we will start with navigation. Now we have this menu here, and it's just a home link. So let's add some more pages, some more links. Let's see what we can do. So let's go to the dashboard, the admin side, and let's go to navigation. Navigation is a built-in module. It's also a core module, so you can switch it off. There are core modules. Probably we haven't talked about this yet. So before going into navigation, let's take another brief look at modules. So I open modules, and as you can see, there are many features of many modules here. Some of them are enabled, like media library. It's nice green, and you see the disable link here. Some of the features are disabled, like image editor, for example, because you can see it's gray and you can enable it. But on the bottom of the screen, we have the core modules. So these are in the core. Now what does this mean? The core modules, so as you can see, judging from the names, these should be pretty important. And indeed, the core modules are pretty important. These are the modules that the Orchard developers thought you should never disable, because you should always have those running on your site. And one of them is navigation. So you can't not have navigation in Orchard. So let's go back to navigation again. Now the navigation operates with the notion of menus. So you can have multiple menus on the page. This is natural because you may have a main menu, of course, what's pre-filled here, but also a foot menu in the footer. You can manage these and edit these separately. So what we have by default is a main menu. And menus contain menu items. So this is not something really surprising, I presume. And what menu item types we have here are listed here. So as pretty much everything in Orchard, the navigation system is extensible as well. So when you see anything in Orchard and you want to modify its behavior, you can always ask the question, how can I extend this? How can I add my custom code to this part of Orchard? And most of the time you will find a straightforward answer. In case of navigation, this is really enabled. So there are specific extension points you as a developer can use to extend the navigation module and, for example, add menu item types. Now, what are these different types? Let's start with the most simple one, custom link. So let's go to custom link and click add. Custom link is just a menu item pointing to a URL. So we could have, for example, a menu item pointing to orchardproject.net, and the URL is orchardproject.net. The owner is listed here, and let me refer to the lesson before, because as you can see, this menu item has a menu text, a URL, and this owner. Now, if you remember, if we go to a page's editor, so I just went under new page, we can see the same owner editor here. So just to check back with the Orchard content model again, if we go to content definition, we can see why this happens. Because the page content type, what's listed under content types here, has the common part, and this common part is what stores the owner. We also have an option to disable the showing of this owner text box. And if we go back to the content types and search for custom link and see its editor, we have common part again. So what we know now is that, by the way, this custom link is a content type as well. So many things in Orchard that are stored and you can interact with are content items made from content types, including menu items. So the good thing, let's say it first. The good thing that these different menu item types, what we can see here, are again just content items from different content types. So we can use the same extensibility points. We can reuse same parts, like this common part. We could have even title for menu items, but I don't think this is very plausible. So again, this is reusability and flexibility inside Orchard, the content model of Orchard. So we have created a custom link here. Let's see how it looks on the front end, and we have orchardproject.net. If I click it, we go to orchardproject.net, surprisingly. So it works. Now, what is content menu item? Content menu item is this. And this has something new. And this is this content item picker. You can see with this, we can select a content item. Now, what this content item will be selected for is to point the menu item to. So if I select a content item here, our menu item will point to that content item without having to specify a URL manually. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have content items here. So I will just go on and add some. So let's open the new page editor on a separate tab and just go on and add some new pages, like this is page 1, not 2, this will be the next one. This is the text, actually it's the body text of page 1. Yeah, you already know this editor, you already know content item editor generally. And let's not fill anything else and just hit publish now. And let's create another page just so we have 2 pages. So this is page 2. and this is the body of page 2. Yeah, you know the feeling that you can type very fast, but if people are watching you, you suddenly start to lose where the keys are. Yeah, that's exactly like this. So let's not do anything fancy, just publish now. Okay, we can go back to the menu item. We can also close this tab, and now let's browse again. You can see our 2 pages here. So this content item picker, this is the name of this window we see here. This content item picker is something generic. So there are multiple use cases inside Orchard where we use this content item picker, one being the content menu item. So for example, let's select this is page 1. And as you can see, as I selected it, the menu text will be pre-filled, but you can edit it. So it's pre-filled with the title of the menu of the content item, but that's not necessary. Let's leave it here, and let's save it. And now we should be able to see this is page 1, yeah. And if I click on it, it opens. Okay, that's nice and everything. By the way, the good thing about custom links is the bad thing about custom links is that you have to specify the URLs by hand. The good thing, however, that since they have nothing to load in the background, they are very fast. So there are sites, apparently, with hundreds of menu items, so a really big navigational tree. Now there it really matters whether you have custom links or content item links, because it's a very big difference in the requests the site has to do to the SQL server. Okay, so we have a menu with 3 items, but nothing fancy yet. Let's do something more fancy, and let's do a hierarchy. So for example, we could do that orchardproject.net should be under this is page 1. So what I should do now is grab orchardproject.net, so a menu item, and put it under this is page 1. So I could put it just next to it. So this now would show it on the right hand side of this is page 1. But if you just go a bit to the right, it will be in a hierarchy. And as we can see, we have to save it. And so let's save it. Save all. And if we take a look at the page now, our orchardproject.net link is now under the this is page link. These hierarchies can go on forever, so you can have as many levels as you want. Of course, it's a usability problem if you have too many, so probably 1 level is more than enough. The best or the simplest menus are flat menus, of course, but sometimes you have to have hierarchies. The other menu item types are a bit more complicated. HTML menu item is a menu item where you can define the HTML freely. So and it's the body editor. So again, reusability with the body part. So if I just go in and write something strong, like this is strong, and let's make it strong. Wait, yeah, it's called bold, but in really it's strong. So yeah, if we take a look at this HTML that was generated here, it's within a strong tag, and we have also a paragraph around it. This is automatically added by the editor, unfortunately. Menu text is still here. You can specify the menu text, but it won't be shown on the front end, but just in the back end. So since this is the HTML menu item type, we use it to specify any HTML. Only this HTML will be shown, nothing else on the front end. So let's specify for ourselves a menu text like strong. Well, you could have something with more imagination, but I can do only this much. Okay, so let's see how this looks on the front end, and it's a strong menu item indeed. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look particularly nice, but you get the idea. The other menu item types are a bit even more complicated, and they need that we have some that we do some preliminary learning. So we will go back to QueryLink a bit later during the course when we know about the developer side of Orchard. We will get back to shape links too, and hopefully today we will get to taxonomy links. So I hope you get the idea. One final note here: as I started, you can have multiple menus. So I could go on and add a new menu, and let's take a real world example and have a food menu, because probably the menu types you have on every website is a main menu and a food menu. And let's add something to the food menu as well, like another custom link, and we'll add that point to Orchard Dojo, so you know where you can view the course if you forgot it. And it's under orcharddojo.net. Let's hit save. And this is here our food menu, but this won't be enough. Let's take a look at the front end and see what our issue is. Let's go back to the front page, and where is our food menu? Of course it's nowhere, because we haven't told Orchard where to put it. Now, last time we learned about widgets. We will now use this knowledge to make our food menu, our little food menu, visible, because the menu, as we've probably mentioned briefly before, the menu is a widget as well. So it's a menu widget. That means that if you want to display a menu, you have to create a menu widget and display it. So let's go back to the dashboard and go to widgets. And we are here on our familiar widgets editor. Now, where do we want to place the food menu? First of all, we want to display it on every page. So we learned about layers before. The default layer is what is displayed every time on every page load. The home page is just on the home page. Disabled, for example, is never enabled, etc. What we really need now is probably default. So let's leave it like this. And we want to display our food menu in the footer. So let's find a zone that's in the footer. Our little map here on the right hand side will help a bit. And fortunately we have a zone called footer. So it's a logical next step to place our food menu that we want to have in the footer into the footer zone. And this footer zone should be somewhere here, and indeed it's on the bottom of this zone list. So let's click add to add our menu widget. And after we have clicked add, from the widgets we can choose the menu widget. So yeah, we want to add a menu widget. Zone and layer is pre-filled for us. Position is not important because we don't have any other widgets in this very same zone. Title, we have to supply a title for widgets, so let's call it food menu. With a menu, it's not very useful to display the title, so let's untick this checkbox. We won't need name, we have seen what this means before. And here under for menu, we have to select which menu to use when running this widget. As you can see, food menu is pre-selected, so this is what we need. there are two options for menu widgets: start level and levels to display. So this is quite simple. If you have multiple levels of hierarchy in your menu, you can specify on which level to start and how many to display. So you can use this to play with the menu, and for example on sub pages just display the lower part of the hierarchy, or even on some pages just the very top hierarchy or very top level. So it's up to you. And we also have breadcrumbs. We won't do anything with breadcrumbs because to see it in action really we would need a bit more content items, but I hope you know what breadcrumbs are. Actually, we can see it in action on Orchard Dojo. So if we go under training and Dojo Course, so where our course's content is, now this is the breadcrumb. So breadcrumb links are these little helpers that help the user to not to get lost in the site and go back in the content hierarchy if he or she wants to do that. Okay, so let's save our widget, and if we go back to the front end, here is our food menu. So again, it would need some styling because it's now very it doesn't look very good, but anyway, it's there. Of course, you won't use the built-in default theme other than developing anyway. So basically, that's it about navigation. Let's go further with probably with media. Media management is completely new in Orchard 1.7. So before what we had was really just file management. Now we have really media management, and it's enabled by default. So we also have it here under media. So let's see what's there. The media management feature is called media library. Again, it's very extensible, and it also uses content items in the background. So let's see what does this mean. By default, nothing is here, so we have to do something about this. So let's add some media and take a look at and use media files then. To add media, we first have to create a folder. So you can't add media items to the root. So let's create a folder and let's call it demo media items, and let's save it. And just to gradually increase your knowledge about the inner workings of Orchard, let's briefly take a look at where now this demo media items folder is located, because we have now also created a real file system folder. So let's get back to the source and let's go to the web project, because everything that really matters during runtime is there. By the way, if you deploy the website to a server, the web project is what's deployed. So that's what you commonly look at when you are you see what happens with your website. And here we have the media folder. So that's suspicious. That's that media. And under media we have this default folder. Now there is something that we haven't talked about, and won't go into details yet, probably later, and that's multi-tenancy. This feature of Orchard basically means that you can have multiple Orchard sites with completely separated content running from the same Orchard application. That's good because you just have to pay for the hosting of one Orchard application, and you can stack many completely separate websites on it. and it will use less resources than running separated applications. And why I told this you now, the reason behind why I talked about this now is that there's this default folder, and the reason why this default folder is here, that by default the application is the application contains a single tenant, and that's called default. So Orchard is multi-tenant out of the box. You just don't have to use this feature, but you still use it in the background since there's this default tenant. And under the tenants media folder, we now have our demo media items folder. That's empty, of course. And the recipe journal is some automatically created folder. You don't really have to care about that. So let's go back. And now that we have this demo media items folder, we suddenly have the import button appeared here. And so let's see what it does. So let's go to import. And under import, we have multiple options to import files into Orchard's media management feature. Well, my computer is the simple version. That's just uploading files from your computer. Web search is directly importing from Bing, and media URL is importing from such media sharing websites like Vimeo or YouTube. So I will just go to the internet and search for some picture, like, I don't know, from cats. So there are some cat pictures. Fortunately, the internet likes cats, so we have many cat pictures. I will just download this on the desktop. And let's go back to our media library. And now if I click my computer, we will have a nice area where we can drop files. So you could just click it and upload it like everybody does, but that's just boring. So let's try the cool drag and drop feature, because if I go to the desktop and here's our young calico cat or whatever, I can drag this and drop it here. Wow, we haven't seen that yet. Okay, so our cat picture, oops, yeah, that would be the boring file upload method if I just click this area. Our cat picture is now here, so we have to close this import window or import page. And now it appears in our media library. So if we now click on demo media items, it's contained here. When an item is selected, right now, some information, some properties appear on the right hand side. You can also edit it. Now I clicked edit, and as you can see, there are this is suspiciously again a content item editor. So what you can really edit when you click edit is the content item that's behind the media file. Because when you import a file into Orchard's media library, not only the file appears in Orchard's file system, but also in the background the content item is created. This is good because this means that we can have many flexible extensions to how media items are handled, because we can leverage the whole content model that Orchard provides us. Well, what here is the editor of the image content item, but we have here. Well, since these content items can be displayed as well, like any content item, we can specify some properties to be displayed. Particularly important is the alternate text. As you may know, on the web it's good to have the alt attribute field of images. Now this alternate text is that, so let's fill it with something like cute cat picture. Oops. And let's hit save. Yeah, you can also delete the item, of course. You can directly open the file itself. So if I click on this file name, here is the file itself. You can see it's in the media folder again, default, in our folder, whatever. One notable feature of media libraries that you can drag and drop. So not many features in Orchard have a drag and drop ability. So if we create another folder, we can test it. So create another folder, and let's call it cats, because now we have many cat pictures, or at least some. Press range. Okay, so now our cat picture is under this root folder, but if I drag it, I can drop it onto cats, and now we have it under cats. So nothing really special, just so you know about this, because it's probably not something obvious, but you can use drag and drop here. The media library has some other features as well. Particularly, there is a feature that's not enabled by default, but if we go to modules, we can enable it, and it's called image editor. So let's enable it. Now image editor is enabled. Let's go back to media library and see what it does, because we have a picture there. So image editor should be important for us. So let's go back to media, and under recent our cat picture appears, of course. And now if we click it, here on the right hand side, not just edit, there's not just this edit button, but also image editor. So let's see what that is. Wow, this cat picture is really big, so we have to do something about that. Luckily, our image editor gives us a resizer, among others. But we could also crop it or something else. Let's do a resize, for example. And we could do a resize if it would work, but as it is with open source software, sometimes bugs just slip through quality assurance, and it's particularly because there is no quality assurance. So there are some bugs that we can routinely experience. Well, yeah, we could resize the picture if the resizer would work. But generally, this feature I think works, just probably not now. Yeah, now nothing works. Is it working for anybody? It's working.
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, great. So probably it's because of the, I don't know why. Okay, it's not working for me, but it's working for everybody else. That's great. so you can have a cropped or resized picture. Now, again, nothing really special, just so you know about these features. There are many features in Orchard. We could just talk about Orchard from a user's perspective, about the dashboard for such a long time that this course will take. But we won't do that, of course. First of all, because we are developers, and this means that we want to develop Orchard, so we won't take much time on the UI, and also because the UI you can just discover yourself. So if there is any specialty, we will let you know. But otherwise, there are just features that you can click through and try them yourself. We don't take time to explore those. This is media. Now let's take a quick glimpse of let's take a quick glimpse of how to add. Yeah, that's a correct sentence now. At how to use media items, because here we have the files, but how to insert them to a page or into a page or something like this. So let's create a new page now. We haven't talked about the body editor yet. Again, nothing really special. It's a rich text editor, but there is this button. It's called Insert Media Item. This is the media picker, and if you click it, we can see our cat picture. So this is a simple way to insert your media items. If I click the image and then hit select, our cat picture is now in the body and nothing else. So this cat picture is so big and we have no other content in the body. Probably I should call this page cat. Okay, so let's publish it. So everybody can see our cat page, but probably nobody is interested. Anyway, the good thing about this media library is, as I said, it's extensible. So we just tried images, but if you tried the web search or the, how is this third one called, the other providers, you will see that you can equally easily insert videos as well, or audio files, or anything really that developers thought about. And if they haven't thought about some file types, you as a developer after this course will be able to write providers and extend all this what we have seen here. So far so good. Anybody with any questions about media, or why have we seen this? What is the cause? Why are we here? Nothing. Alright. We don't have much time left, so we will quickly take a look at taxonomies first, because that's probably important. Taxonomies is enabled by default, again, so let's just click on taxonomies. As I mentioned on the beginning of the lesson, taxonomies give you a way to categorize content items. You can basically create a hierarchy of categorized content items with taxonomy. And how you do that is that you create taxonomies. Those are the containers for yeah, let's call them categories. And you can add terms to them. Now these terms will be the categories themselves. So let's use the taxonomies terminology from now on, and let's create a taxonomy. So I'm adding a taxonomy, and let's call this taxonomy like page categories. So this will be the container for all of our page categories. Yeah, so let's save it. Nothing special here, nothing that we haven't seen yet. Let's save it. And this will get more interesting, because when we hit page categories, we will be able to add terms. And now is the time when we can build up our hierarchy of taxonomy terms. So let's start. Let's add a term. Let's call it demo page, because this is somehow our page category. Yeah. Let's also add some other term like yeah. One thing to note, yeah, I clicked add term now, and now this parent term selection step appears. So this is how you build a hierarchy. I could select a parent term to place our current term below, but let's not do that. And this will be real pages. So obviously real pages and demo pages are something completely different, so they should be on the same level of hierarchy. But let's now add the term under demo pages, and it's called demo page. It should be demo pages. Yeah, that's good. So let's add the term, and this time as a parent term select demo pages. So it will be now below demo pages, and let's call it like media demo pages. Like our cat picture is a media demo page, and let's save it. You can see it's under now under the demo pages. So what we have done here is a hierarchy of taxonomy terms. Now, so far so good, but we should. So this is this was just lar for now. We should be able to use this hierarchy somehow, and we will now use them with content items. And again, pages, because we love pages, because pages are built in and simple to use. Yeah, by the way, you can also move around and edit taxonomy terms naturally, so probably just click through these pages as how many you know everything. So how can we use taxonomies with our content items? We should attach something to our content types, and that's what we will do now. So we want our pages to be categorized by page categories. So we go under content definitions, and under the page editor, page content type editor. What we should add now is a field. So we talked about parts before, because parts are pieces of functionality that can enhance content types, like the common part that stores the owner, or the title part that stores the title. Now fields are something similar, but also and similarly usable from the dashboard, but quite different in the background. Fields are rather meant to be pieces of data rather than pieces of functionality, but they can also give pieces of functionality. But what fields are, what fields should be, fields should be a bit simpler or more focused than parts. And there's a field for our taxonomy. It's called taxonomy field. So let's go to add field. Let's call it category. This can be pretty much anything. So it shouldn't be page category again. It could be category. And as a field type, let's select taxonomy field. So as you can see, we have many fields. We haven't talked about fields on the last time, but it's nothing really special. We will see how they work with taxonomy field briefly. So once added, taxonomy field appears under fields. By the way, as developers, you will see that although from this dashboard page it seems that fields are added to the content type, in reality they are added to content parts. So this is something that blows one's mind when one discovers that. But just so you know, there is now an invisible content part in the background, and our category taxonomy field is attached to that invisible part. And we can configure it again, many configurations. What we should really do is select our page categories taxonomy. So this taxonomy field will use that taxonomy in the background. Some configurations are here again. Well, probably we should restrict what can be selected by the user to just the leaves. So the user won't be able to select demo pages, for example, just cat demo pages or media demo pages, because demo pages is not a leaf. but a parent of other terms. And probably we should also allow only one term, because a page couldn't be really in multiple categories in this made up taxonomy. Also let's make it required. Fields also commonly have a help text that you can specify. So you could have the administrator here with, for example, this describes the pages category. So this is the kind of help text that's not really helpful. So yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. You already knew that. But let's not take time on this. Okay, let's save the content type. I just closed it, or you need time to write it down. So let's save the page, and not the day, but let's save the page first. And now if we create a new page, let's do that. Below we will see category. So this is our taxonomy here. So if you can remember, we set the option to only have one selectable item, one selectable page category. That's why we have radio buttons here. So it's either this or either that. And we selected to only allow the selection of leaves. So we can't select demo pages. So let's be this a real page, and this is some real page, and whatever is here, just publish it now. And if we take a look at this page, what we could do by opening this URL on the front end, but we could also go to content and view. We see that the category is now indicated under the page's display, and if we click this the category, we see a list of every content items that have this taxonomy term. Now it's just one page, of course, but there could be more. And also of course, a content item can have multiple taxonomy fields, so it can be categorized in multiple ways. It can have multiple terms selected from the same taxonomy if we don't restrict the selection. So it's quite useful. And basically, yeah, every page needs some kind of content categorization. So it's probably good to know about taxonomies. Now one final useful module we will take a look at today, just briefly, is search. Search is not something enabled by default. You have to enable it. Because not every site needs search, so it's no use to enable it by default. So let's go to modules and search for search. We have multiple features from the search module. Well, we will need search only now. Basically, admin content search enables you to search on the admin side, and content picker search enables you to search in the content picker pop-up. So what we use for the content menu item. So let's enable search. And you can see that search depends on indexing. So that also means that indexing was also enabled. If a feature depends on another feature, it will also automatically enable all the dependencies. But we have to do something else, because we have this warning here that we need an indexing implementation like Lucene. So Orchard follows the best practices in software development. This also means that many components, so the components generally are decoupled from each other. There is no hard reference, there is no hard dependency between different components. We have enabled search, what depends on indexing, But indexing still is just a high-level service. It doesn't have an implementation. The implementation is decoupled, and you can install it separately, like Lucene, but that's also bundled with Orchard. Because Lucene is an indexing implementation, so if we enable Lucene, Lucene will index our content items. So let's enable it. And Lucene was enabled. Let's take a look at the settings. So, and how to make our item searchable. There are two new items under settings on the admin side now: search and indexes. What should be indices, by the way. Orchard can have multiple search indices. This is also something new with 1.7, I think. But if we configure search, I think it will create a search, an index named search automatically. So let's go to search. Or no, sorry. Let's go back to indexes and create our index. So the good thing that you can have multiple indices is that you can have in different indices you can have different content items, and you can have a different index for the admin side, a different index for end users. You could have a different index for just your blog. So it's a nice feature. But let's index everything now and call the index search. Let's save it. This index is empty yet, but we can try to rebuild it. And after we rebuild it, by the way, it would rebuild itself after a time in the background. If you rebuild it, it now contains every content item in our Orchard instance. And under fields you can see which fields are available. So basically how indexing works is that content items tell the indexing service what to index, and how they tell this is that they describe fields. The body part says that I want my textual content to be indexed, and let's call that textual content body. The same goes for the title, and some other fields as well. Okay, so our index is now built. Let's make it searchable. So let's go to search. Because there's this index in the background, but we can't really access it anywhere. We have to configure search for that. Under search, let's select our search index. So for search, we will use the index called search. How logical. And when searching, you can restrict which fields to use. Commonly, what we use for searching is body and title, because most of the time, if the user searches for something, it should be in the title or the body. That's not always the case, but that's commonly. You can also filter the content items to only contain items for the current culture, but we haven't talked about localization yet. Okay, so search is now configured, but still we can't search the content items anywhere because we don't have a nice text box where we could write our search terms into. So how to do that? Again, widgets to the rescue, because now we have a search widget content type in the system. So let's go to widgets again, and let's add the search widget to, well, probably to before main. And here's our search form. So let's add new widget. Let's select it. Again, we have to fill the title. Probably we need to display the title here as well. Let's call it search again, and nothing else. In the background, this will use the index named search. By the way, so this is a convention currently, but I think there is work going on to make this configurable. and enable you to have multiple search boxes, multiple search widgets for the different indices. Currently, with the latest release, this is not possible. So on the front end, I'm speaking just about the front end, you can only search the index called search. So let's save it. And let's take a look at our front end. Here's our search widget. So now we should search for something. Let's search for let's search for page, because that's probably something in most of our content items. Yeah, so everything comes up that has the string page in either the title or the body. So that's the case for all of our visible content items currently. But if I would search for body, then just the content items containing body come up, of course. This is the easy way to do it. Lucene is quite well performing. It works well. It is quite fast. It's built in. You have to do nothing about it. And on content-heavy sites, you definitely will need some kind of search. Basically, this was for today. A bit shorter than we anticipated because of the various issues we had. The next time we will talk about the remaining part of the dashboard. So we promise the next time will be the last time when we are not using Visual Studio for coding, but just to run the site. Because there's a feature called projector to list content items. It's still something usable from the admin side, but it's quite complicated. So we should take a look at that. But hopefully next time we will also have the chance to start with theme development. That's probably the most important thing, because from the coming lesson, you will be able to really create a custom website, because you need the admin, you need the knowledge to use the admin side for that, and you most definitely need a theme, because the themes are the skins of the website, so how the website looks. Every website needs a theme, and next time you will learn how to create themes. So thank you for attention and participation, and see you next time. And we will upload now everything to Summer, at least on the Orchard Dojo website, but hopefully also in Moodle. Alright everybody, thank you.